Okay, I believe you're live on YouTube now. So, good afternoon to all our viewers on YouTube, and good afternoon to all of you. Look at oil, yeah, we will. Yep, the pound pairs may be starting that fall. We will get confirmation very soon. Let's go. Where is everyone? We still, okay, we have just about a minute and then we'll start. Yes, there is sound. Can you hear me? Thomas, anybody else having problem with sound? Ah, okay, somebody told him already. Good, thank you. Okay, let's start. We have everybody in, so a happy Sunday to all of you. Hope you're enjoying your weekend wherever you are. Some of you still have a couple hours remaining. So let's start, let's go. I am on the pound specifically for a good reason, because as you can see, if you look in this area here, so we were trading in our trading room and we saw this here and we actually expected it to go up and we took the buy. We took the buy from here. Well, we didn't only trade the pound, we traded the euro, all the pound trades, pound New Zealand, pound Aussie, pound CAD, pound Swiss, everything we're trading on. And this was going up. So we were asking what was the reason for it to go up, and some, you know, the idea or the reason why that was going up was that because they were expecting to increase the interest rate sooner, right? So at that time, I asked my traders, what would they say when we come and break this low? Which I'm expecting to happen very fast. And it happened very fast. So what happened to the news event? You see, it is a news event that is driving, if news event was driving the market, then it would have to have kept going up, right? Because everybody expects the interest rate to go up. So if that was the reason, the sole reason for it to go up, then it should be going up. Right? But if that is not the reason, then it can go up and come back down, right? As you can see. So these news events, not that the market don't move during this news event, but if you understand structure, you understand where the market has a higher probability of going, and that in itself is just a temporary move because the bigger structure is going downwards. So if you take the buy, you make some money, and if you took the sell, there was a good sell setup from here, you would make some money. See? So it's most important that you understand how structure behaved rather than try to trade news event, because you're going to get it wrong most of the time. Right? That's the whole point. So let's go. Dollar index. Dollar index, as you can see, we're still in this up move, and I think they may go bigger. I still think we're expecting some deeper correction. But as of this week, before they go, you might see some smaller consolidation in here. And then we will expect more up move. I'm not seeing any sign that it is going to come very deep, which means you're not going to expect deep reversal back to the low, right? But you can see that, yes, you might get some correction in here. Right? There's a good chance they might make some correction here before they go back up. So short term, if you're very short term, you can look for sell setups. If you're very long term, you can look for buy setups. Either would be true. But short-term sells would be short-term, which means you're not expecting to hold those trades. You're expecting it to come break the lows and take profit, and that's it. Long-term, you can be buying at a lower spot, but you're expecting more upside. Euro is the same thing. And as you see, I have this line here showing there's a good chance that we're going to get some correction to the upside. So what I think Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday would be with correction to the upside. I don't think those corrections are going to come back to this level. I'm not expecting that big correction, but to this you can get some move up, and I'm thinking more downside because this might turn out to be a much bigger correction right now. Impossible for DXY to reach 100. I don't do forecasts of what it's, where it might go in terms of that DXY. It depends on time factor this month. No, I don't think we're going to reach 100. I think we're in a consolidation, so I don't see them going up very much. They can come to about this area here, but it's going to be after a consolidation in here. So, we'll see. We'll see. If it's in an up move, we'll make consolidation and you'll catch the impulse to the upside. And if you're lucky, that one keeps going, right? I think right now we're making consolidation here. We're going to go up some more, upwards consolidation, but the next move should be to the downside. Pound, pretty much the same thing. Pound, I'm not expecting. We had some consolidation here already, so I'm not expecting bigger consolidation. I can see some small one drop, small one drop. So I'm not looking for bigger consolidation. I'm looking for short-term consolidations on this. Aussie, we broke the top. I think the last time I told you guys that they'll break that top and turn, right? Which is what they did. If they consolidate here, and I think you might get some consolidation here as well. Probably upside, depends on what it's going to look like, and then you can look for more down. This might not be a very big consolidation because they're already pushing up, if you can see. They're already pushing up. I can see them going up some more, probably making more upside like this. But eventually we're going to get the side down. So if you buy here, you're going to buy for short term. If you get a buy setup and you take the trade, it will be a short-term trade to the upside. And if it proves that it's not going very aggressive, then you start looking for that side. You may take a trade here and get lucky to spike it up. It's rare, but that happens in the correction that, the C wave or some wave within a correction, impulsive wave, becomes very sharp. Then you get a deeper correction and then you go back up. Right? New Zealand, I think you're looking for the downside. This one is already correcting. You can see that. I don't think this correction is going to go very far. I watch this trend line to see if they're going to break. We're more in this pattern, so somewhere here you can start to wait for a break of this and sell. CAD. I still think CAD could go more. I still think we're still expecting them to go here. Right, remember we're looking for that buy setup in it last week. Watch for a buy setup in the CAD. So when you got the buy setup, most of you, if you're lucky, you should have got in from here. If any one of you are tracking this, you could have got in from somewhere here. I think some of you might have got that trade, and it's an up trade. So you're looking for some consolidation here now, right? Look, you can see that they're looking for that break here. I'm looking for that break here, which means I'm expecting them to start making some. I don't think it's reversal. I think it's kind of going to make a deep consolidation, and then we'll finish that move. Then we can start to look for downside, but if they're going to go down, because from that point we will know. But right now, this would be more of a consolidation. Yen did give us some upside. All right, let me take this off. We were looking for upside and we got some nice upside, but it didn't go very much. Started the breakthrough. Downside, breakthrough, downside. Right now, I'm still looking for yen again upside. Right? We got those breakthrough, and they're going. Yen has not broken the daily structure. So I don't see a change in the structure, in the corrective structure we were looking at. It's still intact. It went up. We were in the buy, came out of the buy, didn't go well. Well, you didn't take a loss, but you came out for, some people came out for a little profit. I came out for break even. We're looking at more of these. I'm still looking for that move up. Nothing has negated that. They're just consolidating here, breaking the lows. I don't think they will break this low because I'm not looking for a change of structure. But if they break that low, I would change the structure into this, a bigger correction for a B. That's the only change. Right now, I'm looking at this piece only as the B within this piece as the B within an ABC. Now, if that is a complex B wave pattern, which I wouldn't know until they break the low. But if they do that, then I would put that as a complex B wave structure and I'll be looking for the upside, which means I'll be looking at this whole structure. Right now, I'm looking at it as a 1, 2, 3 for upside. This came back pretty low. So that kind of, it's not a big issue, but it happens. It's rare that they come back so low when they have got such a consolidation. So when they made that sharp move up and they start to come back down, I would look at this still as the B wave unless they break this. If they break this low, I'm still looking for that move. But now I've looked, What's happening to this drawing tool now? Yep. If they break this low, I'm still looking for the up move, but now I would look at this part as the B wave. A bigger, more complex B wave structure is a 1, 2, 3. And I'm still looking for the upside. So anywhere here, I will be looking for buy setups. Every time I get a buy setup, I'll take it. And if it happens so that the first buy setup which I have was here, which I took a profit from somewhere here, this one was a break even. I think I had one in here also, break even. I would make another attempt here and another attempt here and another attempt here and another attempt here. One of those will go. So even if I get 4 break evens in there and some small profits maybe, and some of them depends how much they spiked up before they come back. That's okay. That's part of trading, right? If you're expecting it to go that way, you keep repeating until you get the one to go. Don't take losses. If you're taking losses, you have a bad strategy of how to do that. You have it means your understanding of how structure should behave is a little not there, and your strategy of how to trade that is not correct. Because all of these trades that you take are either supposed to give you profit or get you out for break even. I'm on the daily chart. On the 4-hour chart, that's a lot of pips. On the 1-hour chart, it's a big movement, actually. So if you entered somewhere here and you can't take that into break even, I'm not even telling you to take profit, which is you should have taken profit. But even if you can't take that to break even, then you have a very bad strategy of trading. Look for buy setups, right? We'll keep looking for buy setups. Swiss went up too, and the buy of this went up, but it starts to fail here and come down, right? Which means you can see that we saw this structure looking for a correction here. I didn't think it was going to get so deep, but it looks like it's going to get even deeper because this is starting to look like you could get one more sell, right? If you get a sell here, this is a short-term one, and you should take it because we don't know how far this is going to go, right? We don't know. We already broke the lows. And breaking the low means they can turn anytime, but when is the anytime, you don't know. So if you get a sell setup here, take it. The worst case, you're going to get it as a break even. And actually, you're going to get a much better trade than a break even. Because if they come to retest this low, right, if they go back to retest the low and then go up, well, you will get a very good trade. I don't see a buy setup. The longer term trade will be up, but I don't see a buy setup right now. When we see one more like this again, we'll buy it. XAG, I think in silver, I think you can look at I don't think they're going to go back up because once they show us this piece is not making a consolidation, but it's coming down, they might definitely, they had some divergence there and they're definitely come back to retest the low. Now, if they do this, what they did in here, which is make another bigger correction there, you'll get one more drop and then up. I don't think they're going to do that, but I don't think this is all the B waves. So I think this structure here might be in a much longer sideways move. From here to here, they're going to either come and do this and then go down, or make a more complex B wave in here. Because this one could not be all the B wave. Because if that wasn't the impulse, then it's a B wave. And if it's not the B wave, then it has to be more, if it has a B wave, it has to be more complex than one single move in it. So we're going to expect some sideways within the range, up and down. Keep track of it. You can probably buy and sell it. Right now, it might be heading for a buy setup. Right, take this out. Might be heading for a buy setup. There's a little one we were looking for there, but it broke the low, but it hasn't changed the structure. It broke the low, but it hasn't changed that structure. Short-term buy. Any trade you take in there will be short-term, and the same here. Any trade you take here will be short-term because I'm still expecting this to go down more. So I can expect silver to consolidate, and I will expect gold to actually go downwards. Right? We broke the top, and from there, remember, we were expecting this to go down. If you're following it, you should be in some sells. The sells were short-term. None of them were at, if you get a sell now, it's going to be short-term. First, you can get a short-term buy and then a short-term sell. None of these are long-term because you're still in consolidation, right? Euro Oz, I think we were looking for them to come break the top and see what happens from there, whether they're going to reverse. Well, we are not seeing a reversal. What we're seeing right now is a consolidation. And that means one more impulse to the upside is possible, right? This consolidation here is a nice one, and that means at some point they'll make one more impulse. So we can start to look for buy setups in this. Can get at least one more impulse, and then we'll see where it goes from there. So what is the trade in terms of where your entry is going to be? I'm not sure we have an entries yet. See, this one, we have to get a very, if they make a flag here for a longer while, then we'll go with that. Something like this, you know, make a bigger flag pattern like this, see that one there? Then you can start to look for a buy. So if they start to make a corrective structure here that we recognize, we look for the buy. But I think we're probably going to get some lower ones here first, breaking these lows. And then go back up. So wait for that technical trade setup before you get into buy. But, you know, it's going to be not a very big buy because it's one more impulse up only. Euro New Zealand going sideways, and now it still looks upside. We were making this pattern here earlier. So the downside was okay, the downside was okay. So now with this downside that they have, it looks like we can go here, we can come back there and then go. We're going to make a more complex pattern in here. None of them are reversal signs. So it means we will continue to go within this structure, but here you'll get a bigger correction. Right, we're making a bigger correction here to go. Downside, maybe this whole pattern will be downside, but not just yet. Right, the whole pattern will go down. But this piece is not the start of the downside. That's not how they started downside. So I still expect one more up, maybe some more in here, then one more up, and then we look for the downside. So I think we will be in a range here for a while. Very small range. So it's not much. I don't think it's that one to be chasing any trades in. Euro CAD, we're getting the downside as we expected after they broke the top, right? After they broke these two tops. This one was the first down one we got. We got the second down one, and this one also did not work out good because it went right back up, which means you got to break even out of this one. We're looking for a sell again, right? So if they make a flag here, you're looking for this thing to come here, and those trades work, right? If you're not sure of these patterns and how they work, I think I've shown you many of them, many of these patterns, and they all break to the downside. And we're going to go into one right now. They all break to the downside. See? I think you'll remember me the last 3 or 4 webinars from here telling you once it starts to make that pattern, watch this pattern is going to break. And when it breaks, you want to sell it because it's going to go very fast and it will continue to go. So I think we might get all the way to the trend line, even lower than that trend line, and then we will see whether we're going to break it, right? As you can see, they can come here and they can break this trend line also. So you might continue to get sell setups on it. Let's go back to the 4-hour. Let's go back to the 1 hour. And yes, you might continue to get sell setups in this. You're actually getting an opportunity for one here now. I think this is probably making something like this. And then you're going to get a sell setup there, right? Just a small consolidation right now happening here. They take sometimes more than that. They take sometimes a whole year of consolidation. When they're consolidating, ignore it. We traded in there up and down, but you can basically ignore it. When you have some big consolidations, I think the last couple of trades will break even in here. If you trade it, you will have got break even. If my traders were trading, they'll take profit at the top because they know it's not going anywhere. And on the sell, they'll move to break even. So all the sells will be break even. The buys will be taking profit. On the downside, all your sells will be taking profit. All your buys will be break even. You're not buying this right now because there's absolutely no reason to buy. We don't see any buy setups. We're just looking for sell setups still. And when we get enough reasons for a buy, we'll go for it. But you're looking for sells. And they do consolidate, which means the Euro CAD, this one is already consolidated quite a lot, right? You can see that. And this is about to turn. So I think when you see those patterns, in the first place, you will see the patterns after it had made a number of moves. For you to see a pattern like that, you wouldn't know that it's a pattern like that if you get 1 high, even if you get 2 high, even if you get 3 high. It's only when it starts to do this for a number of times, then you see the pattern and said, okay, I'll just wait for it to finish. So it may have already taken 4 months before you saw it, and then the next 2 months you wait, and then you get that trade. Now, while you're waiting in this, you're still trading, right? There are still about 5 to 60 instruments that you can look at for good trades. Euro Chief, same thing. Euro Yen. We're looking at one of that as well, and it looks like that one is breaking too. See? Looks like this one is breaking also. This is not exactly the same pattern, but it has the same internal patterns in it. But the bigger pattern is different from that one, right? Let me see if I can explain that so that you guys would understand what I'm trying to say, right? They're not exactly the same pattern, but they look alike, put it that way, right? This one is different. This one here now, there's a good chance you could be going up, right? There's a good chance they could go make one more high. And we were actually looking for the high from here. I think somebody, I don't know, I think it was in my class or in here the last time when we said, watch for the sell setup for this to come back from the top, right? Oh, it was in my class and somebody said, can we go back up? I said possible because this could be some kind of a flat in there and they go back up. But if they go up, we'll wait for a setup. And actually you never got the setup for the up, you got a setup for the downside. Now it could still be an expanding flat, right? This whole pattern here could still be an expanding flat for those who look at structures. So before you get into longer term sell, wait for this to make a correction here. If you get one of those bigger corrections, not a small one on these and not those are sell setups. If you get a correction, this will be a long-term sell all the way to the bottom. If they do make a new high, which means if this is going to go back here to make a new high, you would get a sell, you would get a buy setup, right? I have no idea which monthly trend lines you're using, Khalil, but you could be right on that one. I don't have the monthly trend line on because of the way we look at trend lines, but you could be right on that. So if it's going to go back to retest the top, you will have to look for a buy setup somewhere here. And once it breaks the top, take profit. Don't keep it because from that point, you're looking for sell setups again. So the sell to the downside is going to come. And you shouldn't miss it, which means every sell opportunity you get to take. But it's not this one. And if it is this one, it will take about a week or two here consolidating before they go. But if it is this one and they go, you don't want to miss that trade because I think very likely we're going to break this. We're going to break out of that uptrend. We're going to be starting a downtrend to break this low. Right? So if you're still in the sell, move your stops. Don't keep it because if they go to retest the top, they'll just take you out for break even when you have about 100 and something, 200 pips already or more, right? These were sell setups. These were sell setups. All of them you have to take profit now, especially with this structure in play. So short term, two things we're looking for. And this is where you should be looking for your trade. Let them break and make a flag and then you buy for the top. Let them go there, pull back here, go there, pull back here. Just keep making sideways move. Not breaking out, not giving you buy setups and sell setups, but just making moves inside within this, right up and down. And then we start to look for the bigger term sell setup, right? If it goes, it will likely, if they're going to go back up, they will break the top. If they're consolidating here, they're not going to go to the top. They're just going to stay within a range here and go sideways. But if they're going very aggressively to the top as an impulse, they will break this top. And once they break the top, that will be the turning point again. Europe went back. It's still in the, this is not very similar in looks, but not the same pattern. Also, you see, I broke this up for some of my trades because it's not the same pattern. And I can see that they will probably go back up some more here. When they get to this range, we'll look at this whole piece when they get to the range there to see how we would look at that structure. It's starting to look more corrective now. It doesn't look like the end of the structure. We thought the structure ended, they're going to go back up for a bigger correction, but it's starting to look more like just a big, long, drawn-out sideways correction, and we will still go down. So we'll see. The sells are out. I actually closed my sells early. I think it was somewhere in here when I see this started to go back up. And we saw this pattern looks upside, and then from there we start looking for buys. If you got any buys, you either got a break even or you got a short-term profit. If you get any buy, take short-term profit. They're not going very fast. Pound Oz did tag the top. I wasn't expecting them to tag the top, but in the news event, we saw this pattern. And looks very much upside, so it went up. We'll see what happens. You're getting sells set up. Some of you should have seen that already and be in the sell. We're getting another one here. We look for sells again. Don't jump in too early because you notice how long that takes. They'll probably go here for a while and then you can look for the sell, right? Pound CAD, The pound CAD sell setup could be short term because the pound CAD still has to break the top, right? They still have to break that up, and they're coming very close to doing it. So I think this sell setup here might be short term, and then we'll probably see one more of this. Maybe they were even going to come to the trend line like this. You know, this one had a very similar kind of pattern there, right? This one is more like this. They'll probably come there and then go back up. So you can get a trade to the upside here if you see the same pattern. For the downside, which still has a couple hundred pips, let's see. Yeah, about 300 pips or so. You can look for sell setups. Sorry. They consolidate here. You can look for a sell setup. And then look for that trade down. I don't think it's going to go over immediately because we're going to get some deeper consolidation, and then you can start looking for that trade. Pound Chief is going down nicely as we expected it to do. Nothing new here. We're expecting this to break. Very similar structure again, like the ones I showed you. This one is slightly different, but I think I keep telling you also this one is going to likely break that up and turn, which is what it does. And now we're looking for this to pretty much go. So first, I think I would like to see them come here, and then I would like to see them break. And that was forecast way back in somewhere here, right? Since we started selling that early. You wouldn't see the trades now because they weren't posting. But if you were following me, remember, we sold this, we sold this, we sold this, three sales. I mean, this sales gave profit. This one was break even. This one was break even. Although there was a lot of profit in this one here, it was a sell from there. It became a break even because I didn't think they were going to go back that sharp. And that turned out to be a break even. I think this one, we somewhere in here, we got a break even too. And this one we got out here from the top there, right? So those were my sell. Well, I'm in the sell already again. So would this be another trade? Well, if it comes here, I'm taking profit. If it stops there to go back up, might be break-even trades, right? Because I'm still expecting this to come here. And from here, definitely I'm moving into profit to see what happens. I hope this is the breakthrough. And if this is the breakthrough, we're coming all the way to this low, right? So look for sell setups. And you're getting them actually very nice sell setups. If you're following it, you're getting nice sell setups. This pattern here is, it's a little iffish. They may just drop one more. I don't know how far this is going to go and how much it's going to continue, because at some point they might make a deeper correction. Pound yen, I think this is a good one. This structure is a little complex, let's put it that way, if I can make it very easy for you guys to. It's a little complex at the top there because it's not very clear what the biggest structure is doing. We can see the little bits and pieces of it, but what the biggest structure is doing is not very clear. But you were supposed to sell from there because I think last week I showed you this part where we recognized this 1, 2, 3, and I think was this 1, 2, 3, right up there after this flat in the middle. We showed you that one, which means you can be looking for sell setups from the top. Or you can have taken this sell setup there. That sell setup there was an entry order. As you can see this, take it off. And it's going good. It actually goes. We're getting some divergence here, so you'll be careful, right? If you're in the trade, you might want to move into profit or break even. I could still see them going down more, which means in the daily or the 4-hour, we're looking for them to come back at least about, I think it was about this level. I don't know why that one went away, but about this level. So, okay. We'll come back to see what those lines are. Not this much. We were expecting them to first come back before they broke this top here. Or I think before they broke that up. We're looking for this to come back here and then go. Once they break the top now and the structure changed, we don't think that is what they do. I think they're still in a flat. They're still in a flat, but now I think they can turn from about here and go back up. Right? I would like to see one more up before the big fall comes. There is going to be a big fall in this. All right, but let's see if we get that one more up. I don't see the big move starting here, but we can look for sell setups, which means if they consolidate here, and I expect them to consolidate here, we can look for a sell setup. Pound New Zealand. This one is kind of going sideways right now. So the only question you're going to have is sideways for where? Up or sideways for down? right? Because is it making a sideways to go up more, or are we making a sideways there to come down more? And if you ask me, I'm more inclined to believe the downside is the possibility. Based on what all the other punk trades are doing, I think the downside is the one you want to look for. So what would be your trade setup for downward? Wait for them to make a flag here. And if they make a flag here, that's your trade, right? So you can wait for that. That wouldn't take you long. That might be by Monday, Tuesday, you get a trade already. If this thing is going back up, you don't have a trade until they break the top. But if and when they break this top, you can trade it up to break that top. So this would be a good trade. I'm more inclined to believe the downside is what we're going to get based on what all the other punk trades are showing, right? Aussie yen, we're in this big sideways here. And they tagged the low. We were expecting them last week. I think I told you guys there was a short trade for the downside. I think was from here or from here, somewhere like that. But there was a short trade. When was last week? I think you have to check what date. Either this trade down to come tag the low or either that trade to come tag the low. That's what we were expecting, and they tagged the low. So what I think you should be looking for now is reversal signs. Put it in a 4-hour, right? Expect them to probably go right back up and retest this stop, right? So if you get a buy setup here, if this one still starts to give you a buy setup here, you can go back for that trade. Let me put it in a 1-hour so you can see that, right? You might be getting a buy setup here. It could be starting. So if you get that buy setup, you're going for the trade back to the top. Aussie CAD. Kind of making a consolidation here now. And if they do, there's a big trade to the downside. You will not be able to sell that until you break out of this pattern, right? Let me take this out. We're looking for something like this for it to come back there, but it looks like that might not happen anymore, and they may be going down from right here. As you remember, we're looking for this to come here and then come back down. The breaking of this trend line, what you're seeing is a consolidation there. So once they break this low, would be a sell setup there. Because you're on the 4-hour, you're consolidating, going sideways. On the 1-hour, breaking this low would be a good reason to sell it because it looks more like a 1, 2, 3 here. If they make a flag here, sell that flag. See? Aussie, New Zealand. This one would almost do exactly what we think it should do, but you wouldn't get a trade, right? Which is, they'll probably come and break this low before they go back up. But the problem with this is that, even if you look at that as a flat, as we were saying last week, this could probably go back up, make a deeper flat, and then come. See, this did make a deep correction after they made that move down, right? Deep correction and then come down. So at some point here, you're going to start to get a deep correction and then downside. So it might not give you a trade setup. You're not getting anything that is tradable in it. You're getting spikes up, spikes. And I think this was the only good trade you probably got there. Aussie Chief, you're getting a sell setup, a short-term sell setup, very short-term. This should be a trade and take profit. New Zealand Swiss. Let's go to the 4-hour. I would be careful of any sells here. I don't see the sell setup, but if I get a breakthrough here in the flag, we can start to look for this trade. So I think the sell is short-term, but the upside is possible. New Zealand CAD, you're getting sideways. You got that one. You got a sharp move down. You got a sharp move up. You're probably still going to go up, right? We might still see them make an attempt to break the top and then come down. This would be a nice sell setup wherever you get it. So you can start looking for that sell. If you want to take the short-term buy, good idea, but you should start looking for this sell setup once we break the structure. New Zealand Chief, we did already. New Zealand Yen. We've got a pullback we were expecting. We're expecting some pullback here. I think we were expecting this to start go up after the pullback, but they're still going. So I think you can start to look for buy setups here. Let this go up, make a flag, and then start looking for buys. So the 1 hour, you can see we're getting a chance that they're going to go up. And on the daily, the entire structure tells you they can go one more up, right? I could see this coming back to the top. So I can expect this to go back up some more. Keep your eyes on it. Canadian. Also think we can get some more upside. We broke the low. You can watch for one more up. A lot of the yen pairs are starting to showing that upside now. See, so remember the dollar yen is also showing a similar structure. I would wait for confirmation. I will not jump into them. So if you're trading them, wait for that confirmation before you get the trade to the upside. Swiss yen. This one might be reversing. We don't know that, but it's a very good chance because you have a lot of divergence that they're reversing back to the top. Right. See the bigger picture holds here. Oh, the Swiss yen might be the only one. It doesn't have that pattern that will reverse. Sorry. Swiss yen might be the only one that might not reverse. So if you get a correction, what I expect the Swiss yen to do is make a correction here. And then come back there. Because this one is the only one that was at the top already. So they'll likely come back to retest the low. Yeah, Swiss yen is difficult to trade, like most things are, but this one is extremely difficult, right? So watch it. CAD Swiss, stay on that. Copper. Okay, copper will probably give you an up trade very soon. I think you can see the patterns and you can see the similarities in them. Probably look for that trade. See? I don't think they're going to break now. They could break now, but I don't think they'll break now. Because we're getting a pattern at the bottom here that says look for a buy. See? So if the entire pattern is saying look for a buy, this smaller one here is also telling you look for a buy. So let's see if we get a buy. US oil. Good. So if you took the sell here or you took the sell here, you got very lucky. And when it came to the trend line, what you should have done, move it to break even. If you took on the break of the trend line, move that to break even. The bigger structure is this. And we have divergence in the whole structure, right? It's coming down sharp now. Two things will happen right now. If they're going to make any more up move, we're going to go in a big sideways consolidation here before we go back up. If it is going to go down, you're going to get a little small correction there and drop, 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 right? So let's go back to the 4 hour and 1 hour. So on the 4 hour chart, you can see that we're coming down nice. And the 1 hour, you see we're probably making a flag here. Unlike this flag or that flag or this one, you should sell, sell, sell. Wait for this to get bigger and sell. I would be looking for one like this or one like that. A much bigger structure to sell. Because if you sell here now, you don't get no guarantee it's going to go, but they do have potential of going very deep. And same with the UK oil. This one has some nice sell setups. I hope you saw them all and you trade them if you're trading, right? So those were sells from last week and they're still looking very good for sells this week. Always had problem in following the divergence in the MACD. Wait after the class, we'll probably see if we can look at that. How low can the crude fall? If you look at the daily charts, if this is starting a downtrend, a fall, they will come to break the low. I don't think this is starting a fall, but we will know that very soon, depending on what this does. Because if this falls, we're retesting that low, right? If it's just making corrections within this, you'll get a number of impulse and corrections down to the low, like you do here, but then we'll get one more up. down to the trend line, somewhere near the trend line. Natural gas is doing exactly what you wanted it to do. This one is just magic the way it works, right? So it's about to break this low, which is what we wanted it to do. And then all of you who can afford to trade or who trades natural gas should be looking for a buy setup, at least back to this level, right? So you have an impulse, and you know how I like to draw it. And then look for that, right? This one is pretty clear. This one is classic the way it's behaving. So let's see. Once they break that low, are we going to get a buy setup? I think we're starting to get a buy setup already here. And we look for this trade. See? Let's see. S&P 500. You know that at some time it's going to fall. And you're just supposed to follow. Well, now we're in a big correction, as you can see, right? An up move, a down move. Remember I said you can sell this short term, sell this short term, and we're going to get one more up. You can buy short term, you can buy short term. When they break the top, take profit and look for sell. Now, let me just warn you, especially if you're not a pattern trader the way we do, right? We will always make that forecast as 3 waves. Always. When I see a forecast like this and I have to make it, I'll make 1, 2, 3. And downside. How the pattern will develop is an unknown factor. There is no way to tell what corrective structure you're going to have in there. And if you know anything about patterns and corrective structures, you know that they can be very, very complex, right? They can be expanding, they can be contracting, they can be a lot of the triangular pattern, they can be a lot of different patterns by themselves and very long drawn out and very, very complex. That is not an issue. The way we trade, that is not an issue. And it really doesn't even matter what patterns it makes. As long as we know that's a corrective structure and we start to figure out what that corrective structure, as it gets closer to the end of it, we'll trade it. But even without knowing what the structure is going to be at the present moment, you know one thing for sure, this one is going to come back here. Take profit. You see this again, you will go to test the low, take profit. They reverse, give you another flag, buy, you're coming to test the top. They stop in the here and they go back, take profit, you wait for this one, you buy again. Take profit. They start to go down, make another one like this, sell again. This one, when they come to the low, you'll keep it until they come to the low. You will not take profit on this one. You'll move the stops and move the stop and move the stop. And if they do decide to go back up, they'll take you out. You will repeat the buys and take profit. And the way down, you will sell and move the trade to break even and try to keep it again. The further they go sideways, the more you take all the sells and put them to break even. See? Now, where you take them from, how you're going to take them, what you're going to do with them, how you're going to manage them, you have to have a good strategy to do that. You have to understand what pattern you're looking at, how complex is it. This is a change of the pattern. All of that is what you will need. And when you understand all of that, trading becomes a joy. Because now, no matter how complex it's getting, you're starting to figure out the complexity of the pattern, and trading becomes good for you because you can trade up and you can trade down. So let's see. I'm not just saying trade up and down. You're trading within the pattern. Because you know some of the trolls like this, hey, he missed so much. Well, I didn't miss anything there. And you didn't get it either because you have no clue what you're doing. All the trolls like to say how much pips they make hindsight. Right? But the reality is they're not making anything. It's just hindsight. Right? You have to understand what the pattern is going to do and what direction it's going to go before you make money. Hindsight, great. Keep doing it. At least you're fooling one person, and that is yourself. Right? So watch the whole structure. You have to be able to forecast the market before you know where it's going to go. Remember that? You have to be able to forecast this market to know when it's going to go. Buy this short term, take profit. Buy that short term, take profit. They break the top, take profit. They start to fall, sell. Look for sell setup, sell. Sell, move to break even. All sells are moving to break even. All buys were taking profit. Why you move them? One of them was going to fall. It could be a surprise for most of you, but that was not a surprise for me because that's exactly what we were looking to happen. Same with the S&P 500. Everybody is going crazy. We're not. Right? All market. I even saw the news stations, the news TV is not just normal economic news, but just normal news. Hey, the market is in a roller coaster. I'm like, people, this is not a roller coaster. This is how market behaves. Right? They're in panic mode, and I'm like, why? We saw that coming. Once we saw this going up the way it was going up, I think I remember I showed you, not you, sorry, I showed my group a number of charts, what will happen when that happens. They are going to do this, and all of you would remember what I said. Follow it with the sell order. Follow it with the sell order. Move the order up. Move the order up. Because when they do this, if you don't have the sell order, you're not going to get the trade. You will repeat the same thing. When they go back up, right? Where's my erase? When they start going back up, buy short term, and from here, you're going to start putting sell. Right? Same with it. Understand what the market is doing, and then it doesn't surprise you that much anymore. You get rare surprise, like in the pound yen or the pound. That's a surprise because I have no idea what that is doing right now. The pound dollar was not so much a surprise. It's just that I didn't expect them to go that high. But understanding what that pattern is and what it can be, we know we were tracking that step by step. We understand what that pattern could be. But if you ask me what the pound yen is doing, I have no clue. Now, would we be able to recognize what the pattern is and be fixed it completely in a bigger time frame? Sure. That may take a while. That's okay. You don't, when the patterns get very complex, you don't exactly know what they are. It doesn't mean it's not making a pattern that doesn't exist or that you don't know of. Rarely that happens. We've only identified two new or three new patterns for the entire 3 years or 4 years that we are looking at patterns so intensive, right? And we've been doing this for 5, 6 years. But you know, rarely you find something that it's just that at a certain point, it's so complex, you can't figure out which parts to put with which part to make, how to connect them to make the bigger pattern. The smaller patterns are clear with it, but the bigger pattern is not. And that's okay. No need to rush. You'll get them all slowly. Nifty coming down as well, so you have to wait for corrections. They're going to make corrections, and actually you want them to make this correction here because that would confirm the downside for you. And that would give you one good trade, right? Rubles, by the way, if anybody was following me, right, there's one person asking for this ruble all the time. And I actually posted this a long time back. This was done inside our group. People in our group asking, what should they come around this area here? 1, 2, 3, go back. I think we're going to break out of this. But I don't think this would be the big move to the upside because if you look at the daily structure, you're likely going to get one more down. Right? There's a likely they're going to go back a little more down before they go up. But I want to see them come to the 60s here. See? So the person is asking for ruble every week. We will not do it every week, but you have an idea. I've been showing you very regularly how it works. Right? It's going to go up some more. Okay, let's see what else. Bitcoin, for those of you, right? By the way, anybody claiming the reward? There's a 5,000 reward out for those guys. Any one of you found the troll? The troll is missing, right? 2 of them, right? That's 10,000. 2 trolls are gone. You remember the trolls that were going to 100,000 saying this guy has no idea what he's talking about? Well, this is what we're talking about. Corrective structures. Those trolls are gone for good, right? They're making corrective structures right now. And you know that. You know what it's going to do. It cannot go forever. So what we're looking for now is this is a corrective structure. Now you want to get interested in it. I don't think this correction is over. I think this is like the first impulse down. So you might be in a range move that could even come back to the top. They could go back to that 20K in a B wave structure and then go back down, retest the low again. Because they're in a sideways move, they're going to do like that. Right now, I think you should be interested. If you want to trade this, I'm not saying you should trade it because you should know that it has the only value this thing has is the investors. The amount of investors willing to invest. So if you want to put your money in a risky thing like that, that's okay. You can look for buy setups. I think they will go back some more now at some point. We've got a lot of requests there, right? You found one of them, but you refused to talk about Bitcoin. The guy is gone for good, right? He's missing in action. Let's go. Let's look at some more. I think there are a few of them that I was showing you guys like that are interested. Buy this one. I think we had to buy on this one from this point, right? The buy on this one. Anybody bought that? If you bought that, you want to move it to profit, because what we might be looking at here now, what we think is this one, is this pattern here. And that means that they can go back down, move into profit. This will go back up, tag the top, right? Don't take off the trade, put it to break even, and then move the. But there's a good chance you'll see something like this, probably even come back a little higher like that. I showed you this on the euro thing, and then you could get one more down before they go. So I'll be looking to, buy in the break of this low again. If you buy here, put the break even. If they go, you're lucky. You don't have to worry about that. If they come back and break the low, once they break this low, buy again, right? Because once they break this low, they'll start to go back up sideways. They might get all the way back to that top. So they can be going like sideways, 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 and come back low again. Right? It's in a big sideways correction. I wouldn't be surprised if this come break the low and take off, right? If they actually make a flat in here, if they make something like this in here, you can just take it because they're going to go pretty high, right? That this might be all of it. So watch it for one of those two patterns, right, that we're looking at. Let me see what else we're looking at here. Let me show you one that is quite interesting. Those of you who trade this stock, right? This one of my investors sent me this one. He wanted to know about it. And I was like, yeah, you could be looking for sales. Actually, he sent me before it broke, and then it broke. So I wasn't expecting it to break so fast. I actually told him to wait for a correction. So I hope he wait. He's waiting because you're going to get a little correction here. And when you get that correction there, you want to sell. It could be a long-term trade for those of you who can sell this, right? So this might turn out to be an amazing trade. And the daily and the weekly is really, really good structure. Right, you can see very clearly you had a very sharp move down here. You got a nice three wave up. It's a pity he only sent me now, because if you'd send me when this one was going up like that there, we'd get a sell somewhere here coming down, right? You could have seen that impulse. You got a nice three wave there. You're looking for a sell setup somewhere there, but you can still get this down to the low. Now, this might not be the big impulse down because of the way it's going down, but it might come somewhere here. If it starts to come very slow, and that is a possibility, which means they go like this and they start to go very slow, well, we'll look for more upside. But if they go aggressively, well, you keep the trade. But it's going to go down more, that's for sure. Right? So, watch it. Let's see what else. Let me see what else I think some people are asking for Singapore and some more currency. Let's see if we can do just a couple more, and then we'll call it a day. Let's go. There's a Singaporean currency. I'm pretty sure I had that on. Okay, guys, I can see it's here. Okay, you're breaking out, so probably just wait. They're breaking this piece down, right? If they made that and they made another fall here and they're kind of like reversing this. That was like a small, let's look at that for RAS. Start going up already. Well, wait for flags and buy. You're breaking out of this, so wait for flags and buy, which would be good. This is not difficult. What else? Okay, guys, I think we're not going to do all those ones I don't have on my chart, because it's going to be an endless webinar if we start doing all of that. We can take some more questions. Best chart for the week. I don't think there's any specific one I'm looking for as best chart, because there's nothing that I see very, very long term right now. Still look at all the pound pairs. Let me put it this way. Keep an eye on all the pound pairs for sell setups. They all have very nice sell setups. Watch for corrections and then sell them. Any more questions that are general? I see you have SVX minus. What is your expectation? SVX, I don't know. Somebody asked me about this. Let me see if I have it. Oh no, somebody just showed me the chart. They wanted me to take a look at it. It's falling. It's came right here, right? So strong. I think somebody sent me because they saw this. I don't think they asked me. I'm not doing anything in it because I have no idea what I have to see the whole chart in the monthly and weekly and so from that is not enough, but it's here, right? So not much expectation left to do, right? So basically, I don't have any idea what it is. They just send me and they want me to take a look. Right? Do you look at pound or dollar equally with? And no, in the dollar index, in the index or forecast. If you're looking at the dollar index, the only thing I look at the dollar index for is if I see a very clear pattern. The pattern in the dollar index, the biggest weight in it would be the euro. So if you see something that is very clear there and you see the opposite in the euro, there is a likelihood that it's going to happen. If you see the opposite in the euro, the pound, the Aussie, but you don't see the opposite in the New Zealand, it would likely happen. New Zealand has a less weight in there, right? The ones that has lesser weight can go in the opposite direction. That will not affect it. The biggest one to affect it would be the euro. Yeah, this thing fell more than 80%. I think that is why somebody sent me. They wanted me to take a look at it, but nothing much to look at. It's too late, right? If you send me when it's at the top there and I'll give you a sell setup or so, would be okay. But now you send me, I think they just wanted to show that, you know, market could go crazy or so. It's not really surprising to me that market could go crazy. If you're tracking what it's doing, you will know how it behaves and you know they're going to fall, right? Do you use what? Do you use one should buy or sell as market limit order or stop order? You can do that, yes. You could. We put orders on. I was telling everybody to put a sell order on the S&P 500. If they did, they would have made a lot of money. When you expect those fast drop, you want to have a sell order. We use orders in our trading room every day almost. Do you use the same lot size for every trade, or do you take? No, I don't use the same lot size in every trade. And the way I trade, it's not necessarily using the specific money management I will give new traders to use. As you get experience, your money management will change. And that might depend on the instrument you're trading and you know, and the setup that is on that instrument. Volume shorter had a hard hit last week. Okay. What are the things that make the structure changes? I think the market in reality, if you don't, let's just put it this way. Let's make it very simple for everybody, right? Laws of physics. Everything that goes up comes down, right? Everything that falls hard takes a bounce, right? If you think of laws of physics, right? If you throw something on the ground, it's likely going to bounce, right? Few things that hit the ground and don't bounce. Most of them bounce in some sense, right? Anything you throw up will likely fall, and gravity is going to pull it down back, right? But the idea is that those are common sense then. The question always you ask is, how do you know when and where it's going to turn, right? The fact that it will turn is not a big deal to guess that it's going to fall. I think a lot of people are saying S&P 500 could fall. The problem is, how do you know when that fall is higher probability? As you can see that structure going up, you can tell, right? When it's in a sideways move, like in daily or weekly or monthly sideways move, identifying, and most time the market will be in a sideways move. Identifying what that specific pattern is as to when it's going to go up or down from there. That is what we do in our analysis. We try to figure out what the real pattern is to the best that we can. And if we manage to get that pattern correctly, what are the advantages of it's going to do what we think it's going to do, like it did the last 20 times, 50 times, 90 times, right? And if it does that, you should get the trade if you're trading that specific instrument. Right? So like when Bitcoin was going up, I mean, you got to be really crazy to think it's going to keep going up forever. And especially if you understand what's the makeup of it, right? S&P 500, the whole market was going up, right? And I think about 3-4 webinars before I was saying Donald Trump is making a huge mistake taking credit for the market to go up because he has nothing to do with it, right? I think some people may have been angry with me. But now, is he taking credit for the market falling? Is he shouting, hey, you see me, I'm a good, very great president. The market is falling under me, right? Tom, you guys should fire me for this, right? See how great I am? I can make the market fall too. He's not shouting, hey, the market is falling, it's all because of me. He should be shouting, because if you think market is going up because of you, then if it's falling, it's because of you too, right? And he has nothing to do with it. The reality is Donald Trump has nothing to do with what the market is doing. And it doesn't matter what Donald Trump does, it will have no reaction. Yeah, everybody said, oh, the market is going up because he cut taxes. Yeah. He cut taxes when? What is the market doing now? You can kiss those cut tax goodbye, because the market cares less about whether you cut tax or not. The market absolutely shows the whole world that we will care less whether they're cutting tax in the US or not. If you didn't learn something from that, you didn't learn anything about trading. You should stop trading. There's a specific reason why I started a webinar showing you on the pound what happened. It's not about that. If it was that easy that you could make the market grow by cutting taxes, all countries would be cutting taxes nonstop. They will start paying you taxes back to let the market grow. They may say, okay, we will give you back 1% tax. We'll not tax you, we'll give you 1% in tax and let the market grow. It's not going to grow because of that, and it doesn't grow because of that. That's just a fact. Whether you study economics or not, that's a fact. You can, if you study the economics and you think the market is going to grow when you cut tax, you can kiss that goodbye now. All the Republicans are probably scratching their heads trying to figure out what happened. We just cut tax, man. What are you guys doing? You're supposed to let the market go up and give us an incentive to get reelected. They should fire every single one of them. Because it's dumb to think that the market is going to continue to go up forever. It's not that simple. The market will not do that. If they didn't learn it this time, they'll never learn it. That's it. The market just showed them. It has nothing to do with that. Because the market is bigger than that. And there are much more reasons why things happen. It's not just about tax. Right? Once they learn that, they know. Right? So don't follow that. Here's what you got to do. Follow the charts. They were cutting tax and I was saying the market is going to fall. It's not about me being right. I don't have to be right. I'm just looking at the structure and said, guys, look at these structures. Right? Megahawk, you seems to be trolling this thing. I'll just remove you if I don't know why you're idle with you and your girlfriend. I mean, I care less what your girlfriend thinks. Don't troll this. If you troll this, I'll remove you and get you blocked from your IP. You'll have to come in your IP. If your girlfriend is worried about how I talk, then you have a problem. Basically, you really have a problem. If your girlfriend is that, don't troll this, right? Come here to learn to trade. Let's go. He wrote it like about 3-4 times. That is why I had to tell him to knock it off. Let's go, guys. What else? Any more questions? Okay, let's call it a day. We finish an hour. All of you guys trade with care, and I will see you next week. I think sometime this week I may have the chance. Our course is coming to an end, so I'll do that one special webinar. I promise all of you. We'll find a topic that will be interesting to everybody, right? Tell them in Russian when I tell them off. I think if you know Russian, you would not want me to tell you off in Russian because it's going to be much ruder than it is in English. No, we're here for a specific reason. You know, I don't like all those crazy stuff in it. Let's stick to what we do. You know, I do a lot of crazy stuff, but that's when I'm having lunch or dinner with my friends, and when we are having on a different occasion where craziness is allowed, right? If we were all in some party and you were telling me your girlfriend is paying attention to me, I'd probably be happy. You should be sad about it, but not when I'm doing a webinar. That's not the place and time for it, right? I hope you got the message. So, okay, guys, everybody have a wonderful week ahead. Make some money, and I will see you next week. All right, take care, everybody. You're a great group. Take care. Bye-bye. Oh, I have to stop the live. I forget to take off the live early. That would be a long live session there.